The auction house reeked of desperation and greed. Lewis stood in the back, his worn jacket hanging loose on his frame, watching the parade of misery unfold before him. The combine market of Vraxis 7 was known throughout the sector as a place where anything could be bought, for the right price. He'd come here with every credit he had left. 3 years of salvage work, dangerous jumps through unstable wormholes, and living on ration bars had built up his savings to exactly 47,000 credits. It wasn't much in the grand scheme of the galaxy, but it was everything he had. Then he saw them. 2 Kethran females, barely adolescent by their species standards, huddled in a reinforced containment field. Their silver-blue skin was marked with scars, their large amber eyes darting frantically at every movement. The Kethrans were a dying race, their homeworld glassed in a war decades ago. These 2 were likely among the last few hundred of their kind. Lot 247, the auctioneer's translator droned. 2 feral Kethran juveniles, untamable, aggressive, recommended for labor colonies or biological research only. Cannot be approached without sedation. Starting bid 5,000 credits. Lewis felt his jaw tighten. The crowd murmured with disinterest. Feral aliens were trouble, everyone knew that. They couldn't be trained, couldn't be trusted, couldn't be integrated into civilized society. The Galactic Council had classifications for them. Class F sentience. Essentially, they were considered lost causes. 5,000. A Vexian merchant called out, his mandibles clicking. For the research potential. Lewis knew what that meant. Vivisection. Study. A slow death in some corporate laboratory. 1,000, Lewis heard himself say. The room turned. A human, rare this far out, bidding on ferals. The Vexian's compound eyes swiveled toward him with curiosity. 15,000, the merchant countered. Lewis's heart pounded. He couldn't afford a bidding war. 30,000. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The Vexian clicked in what might have been laughter. The human wants pets. How quaint. 35,000. Lewis looked at the 2 Kethran girls. The older one, he guessed she was maybe 14 in human years, had positioned herself in front of the smaller one. Protective. Even in captivity. Even classified as feral, she was trying to protect her sister. 7,000. Lewis said quietly. Everything I have. The room fell silent. The auctioneer's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. 47,000 credits to the human. Any counteroffers? The Vexian studied Lewis for a long moment, then chittered dismissively and waved a limb. Not worth it. Let the fool waste his money. Sold to the human for 47,000 credits. Anna found him 3 hours later in the docking bay, sitting on the floor outside his battered freighter. The 2 Kethran girls were inside, still in their containment field, still terrified. Lewis, Anna said, her voice tight with frustration. Tell me you didn't. He looked up at his partner. His pilot, his friend, the only person who'd stuck with him through the lean years. Her dark hair was pulled back, her coveralls stained with engine grease. I did, he said simply. You spent everything. Everything. We needed that for fuel, for repairs, for... She stopped, seeing his expression. Lewis, they're classified Class F. You can't rehabilitate ferals? It's impossible. The galaxy's top xenopsychologists have tried. They're kids, Anna. They're dangerous. That older one almost killed her last handler. Because her handler was taking the little one away from her. Lewis stood, dusting off his pants. I read the incident report. They were going to separate them. Anna pinched the bridge of her nose. So what's your plan? Hope they magically become docile? We can't even enter the cargo bay without them attacking. Actually, Lewis said, I have an idea. But you're not going to like it. By the galaxy standards, what Lewis did next was insane. He had Anna move the freighter to a remote moon, uninhabited, but with breathable atmosphere and abundant water. Then he did something no one had ever tried with feral aliens. He opened the containment field and left, not forever, just far enough. He set up a camp within sight of the ship but didn't approach. He left food outside the cargo bay, Kethran nutrition supplements he'd researched and purchased. He left medical supplies, clean water, blankets, and then he waited. They're going to run, Anna said on the 2nd day. They didn't run. They're going to attack us in our sleep, she said on the 4th day. They didn't attack. On the 7th day, Lewis woke to find the older Kethran girl sitting at the edge of his camp, 20 feet away. She didn't come closer. She just watched him with those amber eyes. Lewis slowly poured himself coffee. Real coffee, one of his few luxuries. He held up a second cup toward her. A question. She vanished back to the ship, but the food he left that evening was gone by morning. It took 3 weeks. 3 weeks of patience, of routine, of respect. Lewis never forced proximity, never raised his voice, never tried to control them. He just existed nearby, a presence that provided but didn't demand. Anna watched it unfold with growing amazement. The Catherine girls, they learned their names through patient communication, Sierra and Neela, began to venture closer. First 10 feet, then 5. Then they sat at the fire while Lewis cooked. "How did you know this would work?" Anna asked one night. Lewis poked at the fire. "The galaxy treats ferals like broken machines, something to fix or discard. But they're not broken. They're traumatized. There's a difference." The xenopsychologists tried to force rehabilitation, sedation, behavior modification, control. He looked at the two sisters, now sleeping peacefully near the fire's warmth. "I just tried treating them like people, giving them choice, agency, time." Anna was quiet for a long moment. "We're broke, you know. Completely broke, I know. Was it worth it?" Lewis watched Sierra shift in her sleep, her arm draped protectively over Neela. "Yeah," he said. "It was." 6 months later, the freighter crew had grown. Sierra proved to have an intuitive understanding of navigation systems. Neela had a gift for xenobotany. She'd started a garden in the cargo bay that improved their air recycling by 40%. They weren't pets. They weren't servants. They were crew. And when the Galactic Council demanded to know how a human had achieved the impossible, rehabilitating Class F ferals, Lewis's response became legendary in certain circles. "I didn't tame them. I just gave them a reason to trust again. Turns out that's something humans are pretty good at." The girls were never called feral again.